Welcome to the Hookup on Music with your host, Tony Bird.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode in October. And by another episode, I mean episode 91. My name is Tony, and I am your host here tonight for the Hookup on Music. Got a lot of things to get to, a lot of different and exciting things. Always super glad to join you tonight. And if you have time later, please take some time out and join us at 8:30 at the show. We are going to be talking about some very awesome slasher films. If you are into movies, it's going to be a good time, a great time. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to be joined by my main man Yumper, who is here in the comments. Hello, my good friend. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. But let's get started and see what we have on the docket tonight. Lots of new music to get to. If you are not familiar with them yet, please get familiar, because we have talked about them a couple times here on the show. But they are called The Sacred Souls. They are a very awesome band who has a show coming up November 2nd at the Salt Shed in Chicago, if you happen to be in that area. But These Sacred Souls have got a new song out, and it is really good. Definitely worth you digging into. But the band is definitely just doing new and different things. When we talked about them last time, we were talking about the album that they had released at that point. But currently, right now, this new single that they have currently playing, Live For You is the name of it. It's really good. What happened here? What happened to my sound? I don't know what happened here. We're going to get to that in a second. My sound isn't. But that being said, they have a really good sound, and it's awesome. So please dig into that. Definitely going to be what's the word I'm looking for? Worth the time to do that. Also, new music, if you have not had the opportunity, and that is Shovels and Rope. A really newer band. To me, they are newer, but they have been around for a few years because of the name. I have recognized them. They are usually a folk duo, but in the case of this new song that they have put out, it is a little bit more rocking. They have been around since 2008. But this new song is actually really awesome. And it's really kind of showcasing a different side of the band, which is usually what you want when you are listening to a newer artist. They are actually really another band that just within the last week. So I have not had the opportunity to dig into them more than where probably I should have. But in 1 week, what I have been able to get to has definitely impressed me, to the point where I believe that you are definitely going to want to dig into them too, because they definitely have a very good sound. From what I've started with, the song that I have been listening to recently is called Piranha Hana Hana. If you can say that pretty quickly and not get tongue-tied, you're definitely not going to be, what's the word I'm looking for, disappointed in your saying song skills, which is definitely another tongue twister if you say it there pretty quickly, saying song skills. But the Shovels and Rope, again, a duo, which we like, 3 pieces, duos, 4 pieces, many different pieces and styles of music. But this song, Piranha Hana, it definitely does not come across as, well, their definite description when I started out here as being a folk duo. It's definitely a little bit more of a kind of where other artists who started as folk have expanded the sound to maybe adding a little bit more electronic instruments, which is definitely always something that we enjoy when a band is becoming expansive in their sound. And they definitely are becoming expansive, based upon the song Piranha Hana, which is definitely like back to the Sacred Souls. They are a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Their sound is still the same sound, which is cool when you could get different sounds growing from different artists and different bands. And both of these artists have definitely, I think, what it takes to continue to grow and become stronger artists. But Shovels and Rope, again, um, are a duo, and it is comprised of a husband and wife team, Michael Trent and Carrie Ann Hurst, which is definitely awesome when a couple is able to work together and produce very, very awesome music. Um, Going from there, okay, if you have not heard and you do not have your tickets yet, this Sunday at the Salt Shed, which I mentioned earlier, the Jesus and Mary Chain and Psychedelic Furs will both be playing, which is awesome because they're both very, very awesome and very, very influential bands for what they were doing and they continue to do. Jesus and Mary Chain were from Scotland, okay, and they got started in 1983, originally from 83 to 89, okay, which consisted of the Reed brothers, which is really ironic because the band that they are playing with, the Psychedelic Furs, also um are but before we get to all of that, let's rewind a little bit because finally we're able to work on a couple little things here. Here is a couple little clips from Shovels and Rope and The Sacred Souls. That sounds good. You got to definitely check that one out. And this is a little bit of a live, just maybe a second of it.
Thank y'all so much. It's nice to be in Portsmouth again.
It's our home away from home in the summertime.
That's right. We don't even have a big backdrop.
See the camaraderie there with the two that are definitely married. But that's what's awesome, is definitely if you get an opportunity, check out both that The Sacred Soul song, Live For You, and Shovels and Rope. Check them out as a whole, Piranha Hana. But back to this concert, I was saying, a pair of brothers in the Jesus and Mary Chain, which if you have not dug through them, earlier I had mentioned on this show in one of the 91 episodes, their last album, Glasgow Eyes, was really, really awesome. So I'm excited to hear what they are going to sound like on Sunday, because I am pretty sure that they're going to put on a really, really good show. But who am I really going to see? The Psychedelic Furs definitely are a band that within the last week I have been digging into more and more and more and more and more and more. It's probably why I wasn't able to put in as much work into Shovels and Rope. But Psychedelic Furs are a band that honestly, again, if you are unfamiliar with their work, they have been around for some time, which we're going to get to in a second. But what you're really wanting to hear is that they are definitely somebody who put together a really, 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 really good show, which is exactly what you want when you're again going to see a live show here, especially the two artists mentioned, like the Jesus and Mary Chain and the Psychedelic Furs. Definitely, especially they're not what I'm my point is they're not getting to that stage where it seems like they are a tribute act. They are a legit band still putting out quality work. And honestly, this song here is the one that got me started on the band. Just a little clip from it there. But that song is honestly, they were big into John Hughes movies. Pretty in Pink, the title track from the movie Pretty in Pink is where they got, and John Hughes used their song. But they started in 1977 which is really kind of a unique time for the band because their first album doesn't come out until 1980. Talk, Talk, Talk on 1981, which would have been confusing if you are a fan of the band Talk, Talk. But the song track you heard right there was just a really awesome song, which was Love My Way, which is honestly, it really is a great vibe. But the brothers in this band are Tim Butler and Richard Butler. Tim Butler being the bassist and Richard Butler being the lead singer. But interesting, two bands touring that are brothers. But this song has been has been showcased in Valley Girl and The Wedding Singer, but just an all-around great track by the Psychedelic Furs. But if you're looking for something deeper or even a little bit more heavier, the Psychedelic Furs definitely get a little bit more heavy or a little bit more rocking or dancing, and that's why seeing their show, it's going to be really, really interesting. Going back to the album Forever Now, which was the track I just played was from, there's another song that I heard recently on WXRT. The track was titled President Gas, and honestly, this had a really, really great guitar riff. If you're looking for something awesome or you're looking for something a little bit more cutting, definitely worth the time to dig into that track. And honestly, spending time and just going through the catalogs and just flipping on different songs I have never heard before, not disappointing in to say the least, which is, well, again, we talk about all the time. You definitely don't want your artists to be disappointing, and definitely they are not disappointing with delivering what they shall be a good show on Sunday. I always like that name too. Definitely, I wouldn't say Halloween vibes, but we're going to get to this in a little while. Definitely awesome vibes. I don't know what in the regards of just without doing I know, but without just hearing the name Psychedelic Furs, you're saying to yourself, that's a kind of a cool title for a band name, which is definitely I think definitely what makes them even a little bit more cooler. But if you're looking for even more deep tracks from the band, I would move on to even Mirror Moves, which just this week, if you have a chance, we're going to talk about it here in a little while. But I have been putting out a small little article every single day about a different Halloween track or Halloween inspired track or something that sounds like it could be a Halloween track. And the Psychedelic Furs this week, their song The Ghost in You, I picked for obvious reasons. The ghost in the title. Kind of spooky, kind of not, but check that out. Check out those other articles, which we're going to get into a little bit deeper here in a second. But Psychedelic Furs are a really, really great band, and definitely excited to see what that show is going to bring. Another really great band who honestly tours a lot, which is great because you get always an opportunity to see them. Around in their original incarnation, they're around from 1984 to 1985, and that is Living Color. They have been back together since 2000. They have been touring the last couple of years around town with Extreme, which is a kind of an interestingly awesome pairing if you are familiar with some of Extreme's more deeper work. But Living Color, definitely a band that should not at all ever be ignored from New York City. But a little bit of a history on the band. Guitarist Vernon Reed, if you have not had an opportunity to just listen to his playing before getting into the band, you are missing out on what I would say to be a very, 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 very awesome guitar player that just sometimes floats under the radar, which is one of the reasons why we do the show. We like to look a little bit deeper on artists that maybe you are unfamiliar with, and he definitely is one of them with his guitar playing. But without him being said, Other band members who have, well, been around for quite a while. Corey Glover, lead vocals, have also been around since 1985. Amazing, amazing voice. He sometimes plays the rhythm guitar, sometimes a tambourine, but mostly lead vocals. Will Calhoun on drums. He has been around since, again, the beginning, 1986, which is pretty much the beginning. If Vernon got there 84, Corey 85, Will 86, and that doesn't put their new album, their first album out to 88. I put them all there since the beginning. Crazily, though, the band only has released 6 albums, 3 albums in that original incarnation with Vivid, Time's Up, and Stained, and 3 since they have been back together, which is Kaleidoscope, The Chair in the Doorway, and Shade, which is definitely, in a way, kind of awesome when you think about this band and kind of think the impact that they have had on music. I mean, if you are a fan of wrestling, then you know right off the bat that very, very awesome and very, very well, could be played every single day of my life, and I would not be disappointed. And that's Cult of Personality. Just a really, really awesome track from, well, their debut album, Vivid. A great, great, great album filled with so many great tracks like Funny Vibe, Glamour Boys. Really great is Broken Hearts. Last track, Which Way to America, if you were looking for something a little bit deeper. But the band itself is never really shy on really just rocking out, and I think they're really good at that. When the album came out, the influences are pretty crazy when doing research. The influences are described as everything from Roxy Music and Jimi Hendrix to Leonard Skinner and Sly Stone. I mean, you can't really talk about too many different things. And honestly, there is a lot of awesome, just good music at the time that was maybe lacking in other areas of that late 80s movement. When you go back to this album and you really dig in deeper, you're not in the midst of an album that's going to be let you down because, well, it had 5 singles. Let's start with there. It's 50 minutes long, which is also very, very awesome. But again, the way it has stuck around and the way these artists are able to still tour and play and have just a lot of fans. And like I said, CM Punk of WWE's entrance music, it's cool to see some of their impact. But if you're looking to go even deeper than Vivid, Time's Up, the next album that was released in 1990, which was very, 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 very cool because there's a lot of cameo appearances from the sadly recently passed away James Earl Jones to Queen Latifah to Dougie Fresh to Little Richard. They really brought in a plethora of different people for this second album. 15 tracks too. So you're saying 57 minutes. That's 107 minutes. I'm doing the math all wrong there, I think. But number 2 is that it's just very interesting that they were able to get that variety of artists for the second album. I mean, Queen Latifah, Little Richard, and Dougie Fresh. But again, a really good album with some deep cuts. Time's Up, Fight the Fight, This Is the Life is really good. But go and check out some Living Color. Definitely you're not going to be disappointed in any way, shape, or form. If you have ever sat down and listened to Living Color and you have a favorite track that you may have possibly listened to quite a bit and you would like me to share it, and I will listen to it a lot because like always, I'm always getting awesome albums sent to me. Just got a couple new albums sent to me a little while ago. You're into the mood for something, well, in the heavy department. From 2010, I got sent this album called Marrow of the Spirit from Agaloch. I think I pronounced it wrong. Agaloch. Digging into that one, which is really heavy. Also, been told that when the day is done, I should relax and I should put on this Chat Pile album called Cool World that came out, well, recently in 2024. And we'll see what that one's about. But that's what I'm always saying. Share something with us. We love sharing with you. If you ever would like to come on the show and talk about some of your favorite artists, any artists, we would love to have you come on. It would really be awesome. It's always awesome talking music and sharing music with you. And that being said, let's see where we are heading next, which is exactly what I was talking about a little while ago. It is those articles that are dropping on the sadisticpenguinstudios.com. Again, there has been 11 of them. Okay, today was the Classics for Spooky, which is really a track that has always kind of stuck in my head. But Atlanta Rhythm Section does a cover of it. But this week we have dropped some really, really great articles on a lot of different songs that would be excellent for your Halloween playlist. We have talked about the amazing Cramps Goo Goo Muck, which was a very, very interesting insight to that track and where it got its beginnings, which with doing research for the article, I was definitely shocked at just how deep it went. Just like Redbone, you know, you may be familiar with their track Come and Get Your Love if you have seen the Guardians of the Galaxy, but you may not be familiar with their track The Witch Queen of New Orleans, which definitely the first time I heard that track was definitely, I thought was really cool because it was really different. But if you are not familiar with Redbone, this is a band that you do not hear very, very often. They are an American rock band from Los Angeles, but the brothers who were part of the band, Pat and Lolly Vegas, were very, very, very influential in their heritage, which was Native American. So there is a lot of that into their music. And even with doing the research for that song, I want to dig deeper into Redbone because I could imagine that they got a lot of good songs. That's what I love to do. I love to pick artists. Like currently, if you're watching on screen, I did Ecstasy's The Ballad of Peter Pumpkinhead. Definitely Pumpkinhead is definitely something that was talked about last week on At the Show. But we're definitely going to be talking about more new songs that will be dropping like new as I'll be dropping them in these articles to come. Already working on tomorrow's article, which will be dropped. So please stay tuned for that. Also, it's Halloween time, my favorite time of the year, which is definitely a time to dig into a lot of Halloween themed different things. You know, last week we were talking about some Halloween themed album covers. This week we're going to talk about some pretty, what I would deem, I guess, scary bands. A lot of scary different bands is where we're going to be going here in a few minutes, which is definitely, well, not a bad place to go because honestly, you know, what's wrong with going somewhere really cool? And when you're going somewhere really cool, I mean, just look at these guys. These guys look really, really scary, and their name is Behemoth. I mean, come on, man. That's awesome. Behemoth, definitely a Halloween band. Definitely puts on a really good show, too, from the research that I was doing. A band from Poland. Okay, they are an extreme metal band. Until the late 1990s, they did play some black metal, but that kind of switched around, and they play now a more of extreme metal, which is very interesting to hear when those kind of different descriptions happen. They have come out with 12 albums. Okay, their last album called Opus Contras Netherform. I can't pronounce that, but what I can pronounce is that they are on Nuclear Blast, which is a really, really, really awesome metal record label. But by just seeing that video and seeing the way those guys looked, you can't tell me that those guys would not be awesome at a Halloween party. And by, you know, looking at some of the titles on their last album, and then playing them, you know, you definitely want the Deathless Sun playing at your Halloween party. Disinheritance, that doesn't sound like something that is very nice. Um, but the album before this, I Loved You at Your Darkest. This is kind of where I kind of heard of them, was this, because I was looking at this album and I was looking at the back, and there was a track called Sabbath Mater, which I love Black Sabbath, but I don't know if I would like a Sabbath Mater, which is interesting. But again, really, really cool stuff. Definitely cool when your artist can scare you in different ways. We have talked on this show multiple times about Ghost. Don't think you want him appearing in your you want to see him in concert, but you definitely don't just want to be sleeping and you wake up and you're not familiar with Ghost and he's just chilling there looking like, well, Ghost or Buckethead. Buckethead always scared me for some reason. I don't know if it was just like the white mask. I don't know if it was the Kentucky Fried Chicken bucket on his head. But what I do know is Slipknot and their over changing costumes. Well, definitely give off scary, scary vibes. Back in the 70s, definitely you had your Alice Coopers and your Kisses, which I guess back then was kind of scary. Now they come across more, which I like their music, but sometimes if you look at them now when they play, they kind of come across a little bit more like carnival clowns, where you're looking for something scary. You're looking to be scared. Okay. You're looking for the really, 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 really like what's gonna scare me, what's gonna be the the thing, And when you think about G.G. Allen, okay, the man who sadly passed away in 1993 at the age of 36, but when you think about shock rock, I mean, when you're being shocked, that is scary, and G.G. Allen definitely laid that down quite a bit. Um, but when you dig a little bit deeper into him and what he was presenting, it was scary on a lot of fronts because he had no fear. And sometimes for people who have no fear and they've witnessed that, that could be kind of scary, especially when obviously he passed away at a young age. But you catch his shows, you go ahead and you watch something to him or you hear some of those stories, you're definitely not going to be one to be what's the word I'm looking for, disappointed in what you are hearing, and if you're wanting to be scared, because he definitely was scary, but in a kind of cool way, if that is makes any kind of sense. But his scariness was different than Behemoth's scariness, different than Kiss's scariness. A lot of different what's the word I'm looking for? Uh Scariness. I mean, if you're looking online and you're looking at Kiss, I mean, obviously if they knocked on your door and you saw Paul Stanley with a star or the cat makeup, not coming across too scary to you. And I don't even know if back then that was what they were going for, because I can't imagine them ever scaring anyone. But they did call this at times shock rock. Alice Cooper was a little bit more scary, I think, than Kiss, because at least maybe he brought out a snake, even though the amazing Gene Simmons spit some fire and stuff like that. But just again, if you have any scary bands or scary songs, it's always cool. This is the great time of year to share them, because we are always looking for different kind of scary stuff. When you look at and you go down the list and you look at bands like Lordy, Merciful Fate, definitely have the look of scariness. But that's the question: is the look need to match the sound? Sometimes you can look and you could see Black Sabbath. If you listen to the debut album, even the title track, it's very scary. But then you look at Ozzy and he's a fresh face youth. So you say to yourself, not everyone could look like Behemoth, but I guess what the main goal is that your music is scary, especially during Halloween time. Because if you look like the guys on the screen, or you look like, well, Behemoth, you're going to definitely what's the word I'm looking for? going to be disappointing if your music is said disappointing or doesn't really deliver. You may like Rammstein or they look scary, but if you think their music isn't scary, it might not scare you. I'm not saying that about Rammstein. I could say that about any of the artists that I mentioned, because all of this could bring on a possible fight, which you definitely don't want. Like, well, unfortunately, this clip, which we always love to play. Poor Perry Farrell. But again, thank you so much for joining me tonight. It was an amazing time, a great time. Always love to sit here and talk tunes with you guys. Hit a lot of good ones tonight. Go back and check out the Sacred Souls. Check out, again, the aforementioned Shovels and Rope, Psychedelic Furs. If you're at that concert Sunday, please let me know what you think. It's going to be very, very, very awesome. And like I stated earlier, please tune in at 8:30 tonight. We got some really great slasher films along with a really classic, ridiculous soundtrack I'm excited to talk about. It's going to be awesome. Go back and check out this past week's. It's getting drafty in here. I was on there with a lot of bad internet issues, which is weird because whenever I do this show, I have zero internet issues. But that being said, tonight, I promise you, no internet issues, but was a great time. Awesome. Talked about disaster flicks. Please, if you have not yet, go to the YouTube channel and check out the amazing 31 days of Halloween horror movies that my amazing man Yumper is doing. He is just laying it down in a really great fashion that a lot of people are tuning in and joining and enjoying in many different ways. But that being said, we are coming to a close. Check out also again amazing college stuff by my main man Brewhan Luke. He dropped an episode earlier, which I have not got around to listening to because, well, Saturday morning tomorrow when I start getting going, I'm going to put that on. So check that out too. Everybody take care. My name is Tony, and we definitely, like I said, enjoy talking music. So you ever have anything you want to share, you ever want to stop on by and talk and chit chat, I'd love to have you. But until the next time, which will be next Friday at 7 p.m., we will talk soon. Everyone out there, have a great rest of your weekend. Take care.
Thank you for listening. Please look out for the audio version wherever you jam.